She had just reached a major high point. A New York Times bestseller. #1 on the audio charts. Everything looked like it was finally coming together. And then, suddenly, everything went quiet. Reports started circulating that she had been rushed to a hospital in Los Angeles and stayed there for weeks.
No confirmation. No denial.
Just silence. And that kind of silence? It usually means something serious is happening behind the scenes. Christina Applegate has never been someone who hides the truth about her health. She has been brutally honest about what multiple sclerosis has done to her body. She has openly said she has been hospitalized more than 30 times since her diagnosis. So when her team refused to say anything this time, people noticed. And not in a good way. Because if she's always been open, why go quiet now? The reports first surfaced in mid-April, claiming she had been admitted in late March and stayed for weeks. That's not routine. That's not a quick checkup. That's the kind of stay that makes people nervous. Her representative responded, but the statement gave nothing away. No details.
No reassurance.
Just a reminder that she has a long history of complicated health issues. But here's the thing, that explanation didn't calm anyone down. It raised more questions. Fans who follow her closely felt it immediately. Something was off. This is someone who shares the reality of her condition without filters. Through her podcast, through her memoir, through interviews. So when even she stopped posting, it felt different. And that's when concern really started to grow. Because what could be serious enough to make her step back like this? Days passed before she finally said anything. When she did, it wasn't what people expected. No hospital photos. No medical breakdown. Just a simple image of a coffee mug sitting on her book. And a message. She thanked everyone for their support and admitted that health issues are a constant in her life. She called herself strong. Said she's getting better every day. And promised she would speak more when she's ready. But what she didn't say might matter more than what she did. She didn't confirm the hospitalization. She didn't deny it either. She acknowledged her health is the issue, but stopped short of giving specifics. And for someone who has described her condition in painful detail before, that kind of restraint feels intentional. So the question is, what's really going on this time? The reaction from those close to her only added to the tension. Friends flooded her comments with love and support. Some messages felt especially emotional, almost like they were bracing for something worse. Reports even claimed that people close to her were preparing for the worst. That's not language you hear during a routine health setback. So why are things feeling this serious now? To understand that, you have to look at the bigger picture. For Christina, hospital visits are not rare events. They've become part of her life since her diagnosis in 2021. She once revealed she had been hospitalized more than 30 times in just a few years. Think about that. That's nearly once every couple of months. Which means every new health scare isn't isolated. It's part of an ongoing battle. But how much can one person take? Multiple sclerosis doesn't follow a simple pattern. It attacks the nervous system. It disrupts signals between the brain and the body. Some days might feel manageable. Others can be completely overwhelming. Christina has described mornings where she physically cannot move her arm. Days where her legs simply give out. Moments where exhaustion isn't just tiredness, but something far deeper. Something that shuts the body down entirely. And when your own body turns against you like that, what does that do to your mindset? She's also dealt with intense complications along the way. At one point, a kidney infection became so painful she described herself as screaming in agony. Even from a hospital bed, she pushed for answers, demanding every possible test. That tells you something. Even after dozens of hospital visits, the fear never goes away. Every episode still feels like it could be the one that changes everything. And that's a terrifying way to live. What makes a situation even more complex is that her illness doesn't exist in isolation. She has spoken about how past trauma affects her physical health today. Stress, memories, emotional triggers, They all feed into her symptoms. She once described a cycle where emotional pain leads to physical reactions so severe they send her back to the hospital. And when your body reacts like that, how do you ever truly escape it? What many people don't realize is that her condition may have started long before her official diagnosis. She now believes the disease was already affecting her years earlier. Even while filming, even while working, even while everything looked normal on the outside. Small signs were there, her leg buckling, unexplained fatigue, but they were easy to ignore at the time. Until they weren't. So how long had she really been fighting this without knowing? When she was finally diagnosed in 2021, she was in the middle of filming the final season of her show. She didn't stop. She kept going. She finished the work. But after that, everything changed. She stepped away from acting. A career that had defined her for decades, suddenly out of reach. And that kind of loss isn't just physical. It's emotional too. How do you say goodbye to a life you've always known? She has been very clear about one thing. This isn't something she's going to beat. It's not a challenge she'll overcome and move past. It's something that will stay with her, slowly taking away pieces of her physical ability over time. That honesty is rare. And maybe that's why this current silence feels so heavy. Because if she's always been honest, what is she holding back now? Then there's her daughter. A teenager who has had to watch her mother change in ways most kids never have to witness. Christina has spoken about how painful that is. Watching her daughter process the reality of her condition. Watching her grieve the version of her mom she used to have. And that grief doesn't end. It grows over time. So what does that do to both of them? Despite everything, she still tries to show up. Even simple routines, like driving her daughter to school, come at a physical cost. But she does it anyway. Because those moments matter. Because they're normal. And when your life is filled with uncertainty, normal moments become everything. But how long can she keep pushing through like that? Her memoir gave people an even deeper look into her life. And it wasn't easy to read. It covered everything: childhood trauma, abuse, illness, loss. It wasn't written to inspire. It was written to be real. And that's what made it powerful. But also heavy. Because when someone lays out that much truth, you realize just how much they've been carrying. And here's the strange part. That memoir became a bestseller right as reports of her hospitalization surfaced. A book about survival rising to the top while she was possibly in the middle of another health crisis. The timing feels almost surreal. Like two completely different realities happening at once. But is it really a coincidence? Over the past few years, she's built something new. A community. A space where people dealing with the same illness can speak openly.
No filters. No pretending.
Just real conversations. And maybe that's her biggest impact now. Not acting. Not fame. But honesty. The kind that actually helps people feel less alone. And now, once again, everything is uncertain. The details of her hospitalization are still unknown. Her team remains silent. She says she'll speak soon. But until then, people are left reading between the lines, trying to understand what her silence really means. Because when someone like Christina Applegate goes quiet, it usually says more than words ever could.